What's up, everybody? So it was just recently reported that the Knicks aren't too high on Cole Anthony. The New York Post reported a few days ago that the Knicks are leaning against taking the Manhattan point guard with a number 8 pick, or even if they trade down into the 14 to 15 range. They also go to say that if Anthony falls to number 27, which is where the Knicks have their second selection, that the Knicks would be interested in Cole Anthony. Not to toot my own horn here, but it looks like me and the Knicks scouting department are seeing eye to eye. Back when the Knicks got the number 8 pick, I made a video on who the Knicks should take with that pick, and I specifically said that the Knicks should avoid Cole Anthony because of the bad year that he had at North Carolina. I believe Cole showed some flaws at North Carolina that really should keep the Knicks from taking him with the number 8 overall pick. It's safe to say that that video aged well. Cole Anthony at one point was projected to be a top 5 pick, but because of the massive holes he showed in his game at North Carolina, his draft stock has taken a huge hit. In fact, one NBA executive reportedly has Cole Anthony at number 35 on his draft board. Every year, there always seems to be a player that was once ranked high, but then falls way back in the draft. Ironically, there was another player who played for North Carolina last year named Nasir Little, who was once projected a top 5 pick, but then fall all the way back to 25th on draft night. It looks like Cole could be the prospect this year who was projected high, but ends up falling back to the mid to late 20s. So why did Cole Anthony's stock take such a massive hit? And why do the Knicks no longer want him with their number 8 pick? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain why Cole fell off and why the Knicks are actually smart to avoid him with their lottery pick. But before we continue, if you like videos like this, please like the video and subscribe, as your support helps me to make more dope content. Now let's continue. One of the reasons that Cole Anthony's stock has taken a huge hit is because his athleticism has proven to be overrated. This is one of the many examples where high school mixtapes can make a player look better than they actually are. If you watch Cole's mixtape at Oak Hill Academy, he was dunking all over the place. Based off his tape, it looked like he was the next super explosive above the rim point guard like prime Derrick Rose. Once he played against some serious competition at North Carolina, it became clear that his athleticism wasn't really on that level. Here's what one D1 basketball coach had to say about Cole. I think athletically, he doesn't play to his open court athleticism in the half court. If you're watching YouTube, he's dunking between his legs and throwing it off the glass to himself. But in the game, he doesn't really play to his athleticism as a finisher. He also goes on to say, when he was younger, people would bring up Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was always able to become almost more explosive through contact. Cole loses all of that. As a finisher, I don't know what his numbers say, but I don't think he's a very good finisher. What the coach is saying about Cole's lack of finishing ability is backed by the stats. So according to Hoops Math, Cole Anthony only shot 53% at the rim, which is pretty bad. But to put that into perspective, when I compare his finishing numbers to other point guards in the draft, he's way behind them. Kyra Lewis Jr. shot 58% at the rim, Terrell Terry shot 60% at the rim, and Grant Riller shot 72% at the rim. So as we can see, Cole's finishing ability is pretty poor. Despite the insane dunks and athleticism that we saw in high school, it didn't translate on the basketball court. Cole didn't have the same lift when rising for finishes against college basketball defenders. You rarely ever saw Cole dunk the ball for North Carolina. Now, to be fair, Cole did play with very little spacing on the team. Even his head coach, Roy Williams, said that this was the least gifted team he's ever coached. So, to be fair to Cole Anthony, he did have to deal with help defenders being able to collapse on him easily. But even in that context, his finishing should not have been that bad. Unfortunately for Cole, he's a small guard at 6'3" with just a 6'4" wingspan. Having short arms like that makes it tough to finish layups over giants. He's gotten compared to the likes of Derrick Rose, but D Rose may only be 6'2", but he's got a very long 6'8" wingspan, which helps him to extend for finishes. Cole Anthony will benefit from NBA spacing, but he doesn't project to be someone that will finish the ball well at the next level. And while Cole Anthony is definitely a good athlete in terms of his vertical and quickness, he isn't the next level freak athlete that he was made out to be coming out of high school, and that was clear from his play at North Carolina. The next major problem with Cole Anthony was that he was super inefficient at North Carolina. Sure, he averaged 18.5 points per game, but that isn't doing much for your team when you only shoot 38% from the floor. Cole Anthony can get buckets, there's no question about that. He's a good shooter off the bounce and off the catch. He's especially good coming off screens out the pick and roll, getting into his mid-range pull-up where his shot is money. He's also very good at creating his own shot off the dribble. He's got a nice step-back jumper he can use to get a clean look off at any time. The problem is that he leaned way too much towards this tough shot making, which brought his percentages down. It's very easy based on Cole's numbers to get the impression that he's your typical high-volume chucker. But again, to be fair, Cole played with horrible spacing. As a team, the Tar Heels only shot 30% from three. With no good shooters around him, the defense was able to collapse on him easy, which made converting on shots a lot harder. But you could also argue that he chose to take those low efficiency shots instead of kicking the ball out to his teammates like a real point guard should. Cole also tended to settle for difficult jumpers early in the shot clock. While his inefficiency certainly was a byproduct of having awful teammates, they were definitely also a byproduct of poor shot selection. If the Knicks were to draft Cole, I think he's definitely capable of averaging 13 to 15 points per game, but with his poor shot selection, it's probably going to be pretty inefficient, which will make his numbers essentially empty. Another huge issue with Cole is that he isn't much of a playmaker. It was known coming out of high school that Cole was a score-first player, but his playmaking was really underwhelming at North Carolina. He averaged 4 assists per game to 3.5 turnovers a game. So not only was his assists low, but he pretty much neutralized his dimes by turning it over just as many times as he got an assist. Often throughout games, Cole would try to finish over double teams and help defenders instead of kicking it out to the open man. His teammates sucked, but a real point guard still looks to find the open man. Cole Anthony's playstyle seems much more like an undersized shooting guard than a legitimate floor general. This is likely one of the main reasons why the Knicks don't want Cole at number 8. It's no secret that the Knicks desperately need a point guard, but Cole's game doesn't fit what the Knicks need right now at point guard. He can shoot the 3-ball well, but what the Knicks really need is a primary ball handler that's going to break down the defense and distribute the ball to guys like Mitchell Robinson for alley-oops. Cole isn't that type of player. His playstyle seems more fitted as an energy spark plug off the bench than a legitimate floor general. And even to be a good scorer in the NBA, Cole Anthony really needs to improve his shot selection and finishing because they're both pretty bad at the moment. Honestly, Cole Anthony's current draft ranking is due more to him being a top recruit coming out of high school than his play for the North Carolina Tar Heels. If Cole wasn't a top 30 recruit out of high school, he would be projected to be a late first round pick or a second round pick in this draft. He slid down on my personal big board as well, because at the beginning of the year, I had him in the top 14, but now I don't even have him in my top 20 anymore. The Knicks are smart to not want Cole at pick number 8 because he's too much of a project to take that high. Cole is going to need years of development before he's ready to contribute to winning basketball. Personally, I think Kira Lewis Jr. is way better than Cole, and he's the guy that I would take at pick number 8. Kira was way more efficient than Cole at Alabama. He's the fastest guard in this draft, he can finish at the hoop well, and he can shoot it well from deep. He's also a solid playmaker. I personally think that Kira will be the steal of the draft, and I think he would be an amazing fit on the Knicks considering what they need at point guard. If Cole is still available at pick number 27, he's a fine selection, but not at pick number 8. And with that said, that's going to be the end of the video. Do you guys want Cole Anthony? Should the Knicks take him at pick number 8? Who do you guys want the Knicks to take with their number 8 overall pick? Tell me in the comments. Don't forget to like and sub, and enjoy the rest of your day.